without being sleazy. Just he sort of.
Well, now we can afford to be sleazy.
Now we can afford.
So yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
So hi
well,
guys, so we are on
here
Mr.
we are.
Sci-Fi now, and
yes,
life is
hello.
good. Hello. So let's start the table and do everything we need to do. So let's see, Henry, you're at the top of my screen. So do you want to? Oh, what, Lane? What?
You wanted to wait a little while.
You wanted to
Henry?
wait a little while, Henry?
Or would you
Yeah,
like to?
I wanted to wait a little bit.
Okay, fine.
People
Well,
to come on.
Adam, why don't we hear your latest adventures then?
Yeah, we could start with me. That works fine.
There.
Hi,
Okay, great.
everyone. I am Adam Sartain, actor, voice actor, with lots of different voices.
Yeah, but not that one.
And
So-
associate producer on Space Command.
Yay!
So, not much this week, but I was in a bit of a fender bender on
Oh,
Friday.
no.
Oh no!
But I finished delivering the ray gun.
Yay!
Actually, there is a little thing I want to talk to you, Mark, about.
Yes.
One of the recipients.
Okay.
But I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Call you later.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not a complaint or anything.
No,
Oh, good.
no. It's just they're strange. So okay, that's fine. So yeah.
Yeah. But in other news, I did another quick episode of 1 Minute History.
Great.
So that should be coming out soon. I'm very happy about that. And they gave me a raise too.
Wow.
They like me.
That's great.
Whoa, that's awfully nice.
They really like
Yeah.
you.
What's wrong with them?
I don't know. Like they gave me a Christmas bonus too.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's great.
Unheard of.
Congrats.
Yeah. They must be doing well. So I'm
Mhm.
pleased. I'll go check it out on YouTube. 1 Minute History.
Great.
Okay.
And my podcast is going well. I've got more episodes out and recording a new episode tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
One of the producers on Beavis and Butthead.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And just gearing up, getting ready for my birthday coming up.
Yes.
Hi.
When's your birthday?
Weeks, April 12th.
Yay. Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
What would you like?
It's a big one.
Well, yeah, 20.
Times 2.
Yeah. Well, but you're
My 20th anniversary of my 20th birthday.
yes. Well, as they say, you're only as old as you feel, and I'll bet you feel terrible. So,
Exactly.
so
But yeah, so yeah, I think that's it for me for now.
great. Well, great. But congratulations on all the good news.
Yeah.
That's great. 3 cheers.
Yay.
Yay. Excellent. So, is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question yet?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a question from Mark Lungo.
Yes.
Who says, might as well get this out of the way. Any comments on the slap?
Yeah, I have no idea, Mark, why you slapped me. But this one's out of control. It was very upsetting to me for days, and it's still upsetting to me because we all see violence in TV and film. We all become so used to fake violence, and yet when you see a real act of violence, something premeditated and then done to someone very much in the public eye, it's horrifying. And it wasn't a great joke, but no one should ever be harmed physically for anything, any opinion they express. It's like it was a shame, and it was particularly a shame that he slapped Chris Rock, then won the Oscar. It was like if it had been like some guy who was like just Shecky Green or someone, but
somebody said it would have been they should have brought out Chris Rock to present for that award.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes, they should have given him half the award. But or should he could have hit Will Smith with the Oscar. But yeah, it's the Oscars, they never run out of surprises. I'll say that. And
but then his tearful apology, not to Chris, but to
and
else
and then
saying, "Well, I just love too much."
I'm
just too
so full
protective
of
and
love.
loving, and so it was this self-aggrandizing apology, and it was just sort of like horrible all around.
Well, but that's showbiz.
Yeah.
So so I see. Let's see. So let me see. So Jalen, if you want to take your turn, you'd be
Yes,
most welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Jalen. I met Mark, his lovely wife, at Granville.
Yes. Yes.
Hopefully they invite me to the round table.
Yes.
Me, my fiance Kayla will be coming on. Have her turn a little later. Hopped in, looked
Great.
for artists, communities, and yeah, glad to be a part of this one. What's the exact format? Just keep
Well,
you updated on everything.
The format is, well, here basically we go around to each person and they can say what they're up to, what they need, just basically it's all writers, directors, actors, producers, and assorted fields in the industry.
Sure.
And then once you come to one meeting in person, and this qualifies, then David Bartlett, the fellow in the brown shirt, can sign you up for the table email, and then you'll get there's thousands of members of the table. We've been going for 29 years, and it's just to create a supportive community in Hollywood. So it's basically you can send one email out to all several thousand. So it can be like, hey, I'm looking for an acting class. Does anyone have acting classes that they've found rewarding? Things like that. Or I just met with so and so, such and such agent, and just want to make sure that he was on the up and up. In other words, anything. It's a community and it's supportive, and everyone is welcome as long as they bring a good heart. And then alternating, because since we've been on Zoom, I also simulcast with my Mr. Sci-Fi channel, so we'll take a turn at the table, and then I'll ask Adam if there's a Mr. Sci-Fi question, because we're right now broadcasting essentially on two platforms, and it's just
So
and then in a few weeks we'll be meeting in person again at a restaurant called Patty's in the Valley.
Yeah. So basically, as a new person, you'd introduce yourself and your
Yes.
skills, what you might be looking for. A lot of people are putting together projects,
Mhm.
so you can always crisscross with
Yeah.
that. And then say what you might have to offer of saying I'd be happy to.
But there's no requirement to help others. It's just encouraged, because the more we build teams, the better.
Yeah. Huh?
But but I reached out to Jalen because certain people have a great look for Space Command, and you certainly do, and so you'll probably end up flying a spaceship or whatever. So
Such a childhood dream come true.
yeah. So great. So is there anything you need or any questions you have about how Hollywood works
or
or
if you'd like
anything?
to start out by introducing
Yeah,
yourself.
please introduce yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So once again, my name is Jalen Gilbert. I'm an actor here in the lovely city of Los Angeles.
Right.
Just moved here a month ago, so
Yeah.
very fresh.
Yeah.
Everything is very new and exciting and beautiful.
Right. From Chicago, right?
From Chicago.
Yeah.
I was originally born in Mississippi and moved to Chicago to attend DePaul University.
Yeah.
At the theater school there. With my fiance Kayla, who graduated there, that came out here to the West. So right now it's just diving into the LA scene and get to know fellow artists and start to learn what the community is like. It's been super supportive so far.
Yes.
It's been a blessing.
Good. I mean, the main thing is there's two Hollywoods. There's the Hollywood of awful people, and that's real, all up and down the food chain. And there's the Hollywood of really good people who are doing work from their heart and who stand by their word, and they go home to their families, and they're really reliable people. And so you want to be aligned with that Hollywood, because then you will have much less heartache. The other thing to be cognizant of is the majority of people who say they're actors or writers or directors or producers are not. They're just kind of like fish floating in an aquarium trying to make connections. And the easiest way to tell if someone is real in this town is you say, have you been in anything I would have seen? Okay. And that separates, the wheat from the chaff, so yeah.
That's a great guess. I'm already learning already.
Yes.
Let's see, things coming up for me. Just this past week, I found out I booked a recurring guest star on the Justified.
Great.
Oh wow!
Great. That's great.
That's terrific. Congratulations.
Yeah, that just made my whole week. It's still making my week.
Good.
Looking forward to that. And things I love to help to offer. If anybody has scripts they're looking on, wants people do table reads or
great.
Fellow actors need help with self tapes or need a
great
to read with.
Terrific. That's great. That's great. And I also looked at your reel. I liked it a lot. I thought you're very solid, and you know, and also your girlfriend. I looked at some of her material, liked it as well. So just to let you know, you know, so definitely, I think you both are going to do well here in town. And so
Yeah.
anything else you need at this point?
I think it's also neat. Just continue to dive into this community, this space. I'm looking forward to meeting you all and learning about what everybody's doing and
Yeah.
learn how to expand myself as an artist even more out here.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Well, welcome, welcome.
Welcome and
Yay!
congratulations.
Free cheers.
Yay.
Thank you.
So, Adam,
Yay.
do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, our next question is from Bruce Moore,
Hi, Bruce.
who says, I saw your video post on your disappointment with Picard season 2.
Mm.
Do you think, since Strange New Worlds is going back to the anthology format, do you think it will be better?
I hope so. And actually, one of the things I'm trying to do now is, last week, the BBC put out an article naming Far Beyond the Stars, one of the episodes of Star Trek that I came up with, as the most remarkable Star Trek episode of all time, of all of the shows. And so I'm trying to reach out to some of the showrunners on particularly Strange New Worlds to see if they'll, you know, be open to a conversation where I might be able to, you know, help them. And, you know, so with like good ideas, good scripts, etc., etc. We'll see how that goes. But I have hopes for it. You know, it's like uh, it's a really good idea for a show, and it's the first example of a show that where the pilot was made in 1964 and the show was picked up in 2022. I think that's wonderful, and you know, it's the first pilot of Star Trek, the one with Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Pike, and now it's Anson Mount playing that role, and Gregory Peck's grandson playing Spock, which is pretty interesting, and we shall see. We shall see. But yes, I think that I have hope for it. I think all of those Star Trek shows, well, all the live action ones, have fallen into this very shallowly espousing appropriate values without really understanding or going deep enough to really make a point that's valid. You know, and I think the thing that was so great about the original Star Trek and Star Trek The Next Generation and DS9 too was that they often, at its best, these shows would do stories you had never seen before that were profoundly meaningful in about our lives in the real world. And I'm just, you know, so far, Star Trek Discovery, which has our dear friend Doug Jones and our you know, star on Space Command, and Picard, they haven't really come through for me in that way. And also I've issues with characters, you know, the fact that they're not that interesting. You know, it's like, you know, who are these people? You know, but that's it. Yeah, 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 yeah. So let's see. Next on my screen is Angela. Angela, would you like to share with us?
Yeah, I haven't seen you guys since before lockdown.
Yes.
Very, I know. It's been a long time. I was on the East Coast for most of the pandemic.
Wow.
Be busy on. So I have just a couple of projects that have come to fruition. One is that I had written a script about 4 or 5 years ago about a dreamer, a Latina dreamer, teenager, which got optioned by a producer in LA and never got made. It's a social drama. And I, during the pandemic, I adapted it to the stage. And I got into a festival, a top 10, and I'm directing at a festival in Tampa in July.
Wow.
Stage version of it.
Cool.
And it's getting a reading in May of another group. So I have a part for Jalen if you're interested. It's a Zoom reading of the play.
Wow.
So if you throw your email in the chat box, I'll reach out to you.
Great.
The other big news is that I had a book published.
Wow.
Wow.
That's fun.
Yeah,
there you go. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, this just came out about in January, well, actually end of December, and I've been got a bunch of podcasts. But what I could use any advice on is I think it's obviously I've written it to be screen worthy, either big or little.
Yeah.
And I've been reaching out, to producers and managers, agents, and all that stuff. And so, if anybody has any suggestions where I should go with that, I haven't attempted to write it myself. I was told not to do that. So wait. To
not write the screenplay.
Or it's a limited series. I think.
I see.
It's a limited series.
Who's the publisher? Who published it?
It's a publisher in Florida. It's
yeah.
a small publisher.
but it's not like Random House or something. The major publishers, there are people at all the major agencies and studios,
I
and
know they do.
yeah,
I know
right.
those people. Yes.
They read. You know, what I would do is I would think of who would be good to develop that show. Just kind of make your target list and start there. The good thing is, you know, people like Reese Witherspoon and Nicole Kidman, a lot of these very powerful women are looking for very interesting stories, and mystery and thriller, and those are very good genres for particularly for those producers. And so I would maybe start there with their companies. And
yeah, I tried with I did actually called the Reese's company. She sold it, by the way.
yes, for like something like $1 billion.
Was it called Hello something or other?
Yeah. So, Hello
right,
Money.
Yes, yeah, because they always want to go through. I mean, I could go through my entertainment attorney.
Yes.
Get the introductions that way. So
I mean, the real answer is you have to be just incredibly inventive. You know, it's such a, you know, I personally feel that the agents and the studios and the networks, the way they do things still is so outdated in terms of, and some of them are waking up to different ways to gather material. But gee whiz, you know, I mean, the fact that you need an agent representing you to be considered, it seems so, you know, 20th century. You know, it's you know, with the internet, with all of these alternative ways of, I mean, like as I said, Brandon Sanderson self-publishing 4 novels that he wrote over the last 2 years, that he kept secret, and the fact they just raised $41 million for 4 novels is insane. It's way beyond what the publishers would be able to pay him, and that's going to change things too. And I mean, one just has to be incredibly inventive and persistent. One has to look for ways to have to gain leverage. You know, there's many different ways to skin a cat.
But if it was something that would be a good, you know, limited series, 2 things you might want to do is get very clear ideas how you're going to translate the book into the series.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it's sometimes there's a lot of glitches in the translation.
Mhm.
But if you, as the writer, have very good, clear, powerful ideas, then
Yeah.
it'd be good to share that.
Yes.
And if you feel that there's a showrunner, look to the showrunners who can sell shows where you feel that they would be a very good match.
Yeah.
So if I was a
Yeah.
producer and I
Yeah.
said, how about this guy? And you thought that he did nothing but horrible, violent things, then you could say,
Yeah.
you know, it's not
But-
really not a match.
But
But
yeah.
if you have both names, if you've done the pre-research, that could be helpful because it'd be great in the room. Very helpful in the
Somebody
room.
told me yesterday, it was somebody that does a lot of like screenplay coaching and all that, says that I actually should write the first episode. If it's a limited series.
You could.
Have that ready, because I wasn't going to touch writing it.
Yeah.
Well, if
You
you've got
could.
if you've got a good clear idea, and then you vet the hell out of it, and it's
Yeah.
very powerful. Yeah, why give it away?
Well, one thing I would suggest is that there are certain festivals focused on TV pilots, and there are also conferences where the series development executives go, and they're very accessible at those events. So you might look to some of those as they're opening up to have people in person again. Because that again puts you face to face with people, and that changes the dynamic. You know, so that's.
Yes, the personal thing. Good.
And
Thanks, guys.
and then there's a book coming out next month called Greenlighting Yourself that you should get, which is
No,
which is the
I've heard of it.
best
Yes, I've heard of
book
it. Yes.
ever written by me. And you know,
Yes, I've seen your.
yeah. And but you know, but it's fascinating because what I always look for is exceptions to the rule and how people make that work. And so there's a lot of examples in the book of that, but even with people like Guillermo del Toro, you know, the way they broke in was totally, I mean, you know, if you had asked when he was a kid what chance he would have had of becoming one of the world's great directors, he would have had no chance. And he made that opportunity happen, and it was very skillful. So, you know, again, I think, you know, and also one thing to remember is they say, you know, you can only make a good impression once. That's not true. The real answer is that unless you hugely fuck up, they won't remember you. And then so you can keep making good impressions in first meetings endlessly as long as you aren't as long as you don't walk up and slap Chris Rock or something, you know. So, you know, it's you know, so that can also be very comforting that if you get rejected, they won't remember, you know. So there's that too. So anything else?
That's it.
Okay, yay! 3 cheers, Angela. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Our next question is a Scott Baker question.
Hello, Scott.
He wants to know which, if any, of the Japanese monster movies, or kaiju, as they're known as, do you find to be quality science fiction?
I like the original Godzilla in Japanese, because in the Japanese version, which is the one without Raymond Burr, the one in Japanese, it's very much against nuclear war, and it's actually a good film. I like it. I think it's a really good film. That's the one that really works for me. When I was a kid, I saw things like Mothra and so forth, but now I find those things hokey. I don't have the love of those films that Guillermo has. Guillermo told me that when he was a kid, he was watching War of the Gargantuas in a movie theater in Guadalajara, and he was so entranced by it that even when a kid poured a full cup of piss from the balcony onto his head, he still stayed for the entire movie. And of course, Guillermo went on to make Pacific Rim, which was his tribute to that form of movie. So pretty fun. So, okay, so let's see. So I guess, David, you want to go for it, David? David has some new news.
Do I?
Yes, that's up to you.
I am David Bartlett. I am a filmmaker, a human rights activist, and now I lost my train of thought.
Well, there you go.
A teacher.
Yeah.
And a producer of Space Command.
Yay!
So if I sound like I'm a little slurry in my voice, I had a little issue last Thursday. I had a very mild stroke.
Yeah.
Which was not something I recognized at first. I had just quit coffee and caffeine, and I was having lots of headaches and tingling of my face. I thought, oh, well, that's what it is, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
So I went to a screening on Saturday, and at an after party, and a friend of mine said, "Are you okay?" And the next thing I knew, she had me in the ER.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out now. I'm good. This hand's a little slow. I'm a little bit slurry. Left leg is a little weak, but I'm already doing rehabilitation, and I'm shooting for a full recovery.
Great.
So there you are. So
yeah. That's well. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that I mean, the table exists as a community, not just relating to Hollywood, but also for all of us in terms of through being well and being ill and all of those things. So we're in support of you, and then of course you have the very good news about your brother, if you want to share that as well.
Oh yeah, over the weekend my brother won an Oscar for Dune.
Yes, isn't that cool?
So,
yay!
That's pretty cool. Since I came down to LA first, 1980, and 3 years later, he followed me on a whim.
Yes.
He wanted to play rock and roll drums, which he did for about 10 years. And to make money, I trained him to be an apprentice picture editor. So I was editing film at the time on a splicer, on a beanbag with cuts and the whole thing, trim bins and all that. If you guys look in the museum at the Academy, you'll see a picture of Thomas Shoemaker, who is Martin Scorsese's editor, in front of an 8-plate Cam Universal, about $100,000 editing machine. And that was one of the machines I used to use. So you can see, imagine me sitting there chopping with a splicer. I made many, many, many splices. So he came down for that part, and then he was sound editing with me and sound designing, and then he got in a very big company, which I came into about a year later, called Weddington Productions. I skipped a part of my own career and dovetailed it with my brother's. I was moving to LA in 1980 because I was just dying to get here. I had no money. I had no resources of any kind. I didn't know a single person. I wasn't Jewish, which could have helped you at the time. Probably still could. But I didn't have anything going for me like that. I went to a class that William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist, was teaching. And he had to teach 2 more classes. And he said, there aren't enough people in the school, so I'm not going to come. So there's a guy at the school named Gary Shusett, who we all love at the table here. He gave me 2 classes for free. And one got me on the set of the biggest film in Hollywood at the time, which was Under the Rainbow. And I met Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher and all these great people. And I was with the director watching a brand new thing they had called a video tap, where you had a wire coming from the eyepiece and went to a VHS recorder, and they could play back the tape on the set, the take on the set right then. I was the only one allowed to watch this with him, and it was a big deal. So they started going way over budget, so I couldn't visit anymore. So I got to work with Robert Wise, who was the director and producer of West Side Story and help me out. What's the other one?
Dave, there's still
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. Yes.
And he was also the editor of Citizen Kane.
Yes.
So he became my first kind of advisor. And I ended up in a sound editing company. This. I usually tell a new story every week if I can. So this will be my story. So I was working with non-union projects right after that. I worked with New World Pictures when the production designer was Jim Cameron, and his brand new fiance was Galen Hurd. So I was there as a carpenter with him. I worked with the visual effects department with Bob and Danny Skotak, who later won an Oscar for either The Abyss, I think, or the Alien 2, or whatever it was with Jim. They won for that. I forget which one. So I got a lot of great experience doing that. And I was working on the set, and then I wanted to work in post-production, so I started volunteering. Volunteering is a great way to go. Don't anybody say never work for free, because I wouldn't have a career if I didn't work for free. So time passed, and I ended up at this sound editing company. I worked on a very big company that my brother was at. And he went from there to mixing in that same company, small films. And one of the small films he got was a little movie called Reservoir Dogs. These couple of guys came in and they were just dying to have a really great sound. And one was Quentin Tarantino and one was Lawrence Bender. So we did that. I did 2 other films with Lawrence, and Quentin did several other films with us. And one of them was Pulp Fiction, which I worked on. So I got to do Speed and Total Recall and Tremors and a whole bunch of movies like that there. So then I saw Robert Wise was going to be at a screening of 2 of his films, Odds Against Tomorrow and The Setup, which are both excellent films. They're both noir films. One is great. It starts on a clock and it cranes down into an alley and follows a boxer into the boxing ring.
Wow.
And it takes place exactly 93 minutes. And at the end, it comes out of the alley, pulling away from him. I won't say why. And it ends up on that clock, and it's exactly 93 minutes later.
Wow.
So somebody said, "How did you do that?" He said, "We shot it 4 different times, and we estimated how long the script would be, and we got one right."
That's great.
Someone said, "How'd you get into directing?" He said he was working at RKO, and he was in the sound department, and somebody there said, "You got to get out of the sound department. It's a ceiling. You got to get in the picture department because you become a film editor, and the director will get fired, and you'll get to do the film, or they'll like you and they'll have you do a film." Which is still a good way to do it to this day. Anyway, so I went to him on the intermission, and I said hi, and he said, "Oh, how's it going? How you doing?" I said, "Fine." I said, "I'm working as a sound editor. Still want to direct, but I'm working as a sound editor." He says, he laughed, and he said, "You have to get out of the sound department." So I did, and I started doing my own independent films and working with friends on their films, doing a lot of support of other people. I got very good at certain jobs. Editing and cinematography are 2 of them. And I was doing a little acting. And I started doing my own films. And I just got a film that I produced, nominated for an Emmy this year, which is called No More Goodbyes. I'm sorry, it's called Rekindling Christmas. There's a new film we're working on called No More Goodbyes. They just won the Audience Choice Award at the Santa Fe Film Festival. And I'm working my way through directing that way.
Great.
I made my first film when I was 10 in a barn on my parents' property, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to shoot another film on the same property in the same barn and come full circle because we just inherited that land and we're going to be selling it soon. So that's kind of a full circle thing for me too. So I'm doing a lot of that sort of thing.
Great.
So anyway, that was my story.
Yay.
Part 2 of this is Space Command.
Yay.
Space Command does all sorts of things. One of them is visual effects, which I am producing. And another one is the post-production sound, which I am also doing. Dave Edison and I work hand in hand, typically, getting all of this stuff done. And two of us do about 7 or 8 different job titles between us, maybe more. But it somehow keeps moving forward. And we are right around the corner, knock on wood, from finishing the first 2 hours on DVD and Blu-ray of Space Command.
Yay!
So that's very cool. Now, there is more shooting coming up one of these days. A few months, probably. And when that happens, we always need lots of help building sets, especially. There's a lot of set building in science fiction.
Yes.
And there's a lot of costume building, too, those of you that have skills in that area. And if you're interested in volunteering or getting a paid position, you can contact me. So my email, which I'll tell you for 2 reasons, is DaveFilms, DaveFilms, right? There's the
we just mentioned. Yeah, that's right.
Hotmail.com. Did you print those covers, the new covers? No.
No, this is just, I just printed one out. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. But as Adam mentioned, you can order them now.
I'll print the new one for you tomorrow if he sends it in time.
Cool.
We've got the DVD Blu-ray cover and the DVD with the extras covers. Oh, well, shoot, that reminds me. We have to send him a change on that. The DVD extras needs a special cover. Anyway, so the point is, we're that close to getting this finished. So if you want to work in the film that's coming up to shoot, just talk to me. Did I finish my email? DaveFilms@hotmail.com.
Great.
Now, I gave that email for a couple of reasons, and this also is good for the Mr. Sci-Fi people. If you want to be on the table email, I am the one for that too. So email me and ask to be on the table email. This is for the Mr. Sci-Fi folks too. You need to have an email that has your full first and last name, like David Bartlett 1234@gmail.com is okay. You know, DoogiePie 2750 at Yahoo is not okay for 2 reasons. One is it's not my full first and last name, and the second is it's Yahoo. We can't have Yahoo, so don't get Yahoo.
Come on, guys.
You can have Gmail all day long. Your first and last name, good to go. You have to have that first. So when you get that, give me write me an email, and I will get you set up. And that is my spiel. Now, I am going to have to leave shortly, but I'll put it in the chat here for those of you that are on the chat, and you can get it that way. So you are.
Okay, yay! Okay, so we'll have to hold up with the Mr. Sci-Fi for a minute because one of our dogs was going crazy to go downstairs.
But take Judith, Elaine.
But Judith, would you like to pop in? Judith, can you hear me? Hello, Judith.
Judith, can you hear me?
Hi, Judith.
I was going the other way. Judith, can you hear me? Can you see and feel me?
Okay, well, she'll pop in. I know she's been having some health struggles, but she's doing great. But it'd be good to grab her the next time we see her.
Elaine.
Yes.
I had a really, really cool experience. And Saturday night, before I went to the ER, I went to a screening a friend of mine made, of a film that was only 18 minutes long, but it was starring Ben Vereen.
Oh my gosh.
Ben Vereen was shot on a Broadway stage in an 18-minute one-man monologue that my friend wrote and directed.
Wow.
This thing is phenomenal. And when it gets released, I'll let you guys know. But we got to see the film, and then Ben was on the Zoom on the movie screen with a camera in the audience to answer questions for about a half an hour afterwards. He had apparently lost a couple of children to some, I don't know how, it didn't come up, but the fact that they were gone was the main event of the film, and him experiencing that.
Wow.
He did a little song and dance number that was really awesome, and he was just phenomenal. The film was tremendous. It's called A Quarter to Three. If you guys see it around.
Okay.
It was really an amazing experience. And I got to host my sister from Beaverton. She stayed with me, and she went to the Oscars with my brother and a bunch of people. And his stories of the Oscars were, I mean, besides Chris Rock and all that, it was quite a night because they had the crafts people had pre-taped. And one really beautiful thing happened. There was so much scandal around that because they wouldn't be on the live show that the Academy members voluntarily showed up at 4 o'clock to be in the audience for them. And you got to thank Guillermo del Toro. You did not get to thank Guillermo del Toro. They got to thank Denis Villeneuve in person, and everyone was there seeing them and applauding the whole thing like it was part of the real show. So that was really special. I'm not sure where that came from. I think people just decided on their own to show up early to support those craftspeople. So that was a very special thing.
That's great
really
to hear. I mean, that's great to hear because that really upset me too, that they eliminated those people. I found that very offensive.
There's a lot of people that say they're going to quit. Somebody said they were going to take their 2 Oscars and melt them down into raw metal or something. It's been a very strange time.
Okay, well, welcome, and keep fighting back. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Mark should be back soon, but Kayla, would you like to jump in?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Kayla Rael Holder. Hey, thanks for having me here. This is really lovely. As Jalen said, we moved out here together about like a month ago, and it's been so magical to be able to connect with such like kind people. I think genuinely kind people, but it feels that way. But yeah, so I'm an actor, I'm a writer and an educator as well. Moved from Chicago, also went to the Theater School at DePaul. Now I work there as well, although remotely, which is really cool. I'm the director of the summer high school training program for people who want to experience conservatory lifestyle prior to going to college. And they get to live on campus for 3 weeks and study all aspects of the theater. It's really special. So if you know of any high schoolers, be sure to send them my way who might be interested in a cool opportunity.
Wow.
But yeah, in terms of what I need or have to offer, I'm really just interested in continuing this conversation and getting to know you all. Like Jalen said too, if there's any scripts that you all are working on or projects you have going on that you would like to have any collaboration or impact, I'm an actor. And then being out here too, I'm really interested in writing and pursuing that. That's always been a part of who I am, but I haven't really done it public. As much. So if you had a recommend or just anything within that community, I'd be totally welcome to receiving.
So what do you like? Is it prose, television, film, miniseries kind of thing? What kind of, how do you see your work?
I see my work in more of like an independent film aspect. The truth be told, I've done a lot of like essay writing and poetry, and I really want to transform like the heart and the stories that I have into a script. But I'm at the beginning of that journey. But that's my vision, is the independent film.
Well, one way that's sometimes interesting to start is if you write some short pieces and film them, and because that and you bring people on board. It's sometimes you start with shorts and then the material just starts to push itself outward to be longer and longer. But the thing about writing a short and then filming it is that you have a lot of freedom to make mistakes of like overwriting, underwriting. And you start to see yourself as a writer-director, which is often preferable to just being a writer because you have so little power. And when you write and direct and you start to see it in those images and those little bits and pieces, sometimes it's a very good way to get out of your own way. You just invite some friends and you have a short scene and you start to explore and find out what you're doing. The main thing is to get moving you know, and get perfectionism out of your way, and let your
Can you tell I'm a perfectionist?
yes. But then you get to see, you get to say, well, I mean, you start out and saying, oh, I'd like to talk about the way people let judgment undermine real talent, right? Their own personal judgment of their dad or whatever. And so then you're working on it and you're filming it. You're saying, this is really silly. Everybody knows this. This is a worthless piece of, nonsense. And then you film it and you put it up and people are saying, oh my God, that moved me so much. I thought I was alone. And sometimes that really can get you going. You can realize that something with the hard work of editing and putting it together, you start to diminish what you did, and then you get it out there and you say, I really do have a voice that people need to hear. So,
thank you for that.
Sure.
Hey, Elaine.
Sure, yeah.
I have two small things to add to this that are very, very recent.
Great.
I've had a lot of background in screenwriting and teaching screenwriting, and I've been produced and won awards and things. But I always look to learn something new. And I came across this thing called Screenwriting U, the letter U.com. And this thing, I don't know where they got these teachers, but they really know what they're doing. And I was very surprised. I actually learned something from an online class, and it was really amazing. So I like to promote them. And also I came across the thing because I can't use my left hand so much right now. I have to use dictation. So Microsoft Word has a dictation button, and this thing is ninja. It is so good. So I've been taking transcriptions of things. I've been taking podcasts. I've been taking my own voice. I've been writing emails that way. You write the email, you paste it in, a couple of tweaks. It's been incredible. Like if you like to do a stream of consciousness writing, like I did sometimes, like I'll come up with an idea. I'll go, oh, this is a great idea. I have no ending. I have no opening. It's just a random idea. I'll just throw it in there, and I'll just keep adding more and more and more until I get enough all in one place to figure out, okay, well, that would be a cool opening. I said, well, this is a good ending. If we've got this going in that direction, that could work. And I do it with Word now so that those can just be filed in a big stockpile. And I print them all out and put them up on a wall and look at them all and use a highlighter to select things or whatever. It's been amazing. Really, really great. And you can also take that stuff and paste it into Final Draft if you're clever about it, which is another seminar. But this Microsoft Word thing is phenomenal. For so
That's
many.
really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw it in there.
Okay, great.
I
Thanks.
really do have to
David.
go now. So I'll see you guys later.
Okay, bye. Bye. Okay, Jude.
Movies.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Bye, Mark.
bye.
Bye.
Talk
So,
soon.
Judith, are you gone?
I don't know.
Dear.
Well, we can come back to her. So,
Okay.
Henry, would you like to take your turn now?
I might as well. Can
Sure.
you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm using my Elgato microphone that I just recently got.
Cool.
And I love it to death, don't get me wrong. Okay, you know how I said I had an agent last week and all of that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I got my contract signed as of 1:30 p.m. on
Wow.
Monday.
Yay. That's great.
And she is actually local to me.
Wow.
In my area, believe it or not. She lives like maybe 10 miles from me.
Great.
That's great.
And she and come to find out, she was my actually old school teacher.
Huh. That's great. That's great.
Because me and her got to reminiscing, and I told her I had a teacher by her name, and she said whereabouts, and I told her, and she said, "Yep, that's me."
That's great. That's great.
I just have a question because I've been getting conflicting information about
Sure.
this, and other people can chime in as well. I've been told that by different people that I should contact my agent every day to actually let them know that I'm on their radar.
No, it's you. I mean, it depends. It differs from agent to agent. You want to be in touch with them when you have something to tell them or share with them, or they have something to share with you, but you don't want to just be calling them to chit chat because that's not the role of the client / to the agent. But if you have leads for them to follow, or if you just booked a role, one thing I've always done in my career is that when I have an agent representing me in television and film, if I land a job, I still let them commission it, because it gives them an incentive to work harder for me. So I don't divide it up by what they generate and what I generate. I just say, okay, we're working on this journey together, and we share in what we accomplish.
When I was working with my agent, I had a pretty good system. Every Monday, I would email and say, I got hold of this. This is brewing. Would you like to follow up, or should I? I've got this lead and this lead. I'd love if there's any way to get in. If again, should I make contact, or would you like to? And I understand that we were waiting to hear back from so and so. Have you heard anything? Is it time to follow up? With that, just a little reminder, and then say, hope all's going well, blah blah blah. But I would keep their diary for them and just tell them everything that was coming up for me, everything that I'd sort of like to follow up. It wasn't too long a list, but it was very specific to show that they weren't expected to do all the work. I was doing research. I was creating, leads for myself and material. And I would always say, which of us should be best to follow up on this? I'd be happy to, and usually they'd want to follow up, but I would keep their calendar, because a lot of things, when they have a number of clients, things fall through the cracks and they forget. And it was a way of reminding them every Monday what was happening.
Yes.
And that worked out quite well. It was always very chatty and friendly.
Because my agent just told me that she does not want to be commissioned for the stuff that I find on my own.
Well, I mean, that's nice of her, and again, it's her choice and yours. I'm not saying one has to do that. I'm just saying what I did. Though the monies I got from my books would not go to my TV/movie agent, because they weren't involved in that aspect of my career. So, but again, the main thing is that an agent should be on your wavelength. You guys should be sort of having the same aspirations, and they should be effective in representing you and getting you in the room in terms of, whatever you're looking to do. And
closing the deal.
And closing the deal, yes,
because it's
absolutely.
easy for artists to get, kind of pushed around.
Yeah, no. So, but congratulations, that's great news.
Great news, wonderful.
Because she actually wants me to email her every day.
Well, if that's what she
keep on her radar.
If that's what she wants, do it. I mean, again, it's like any conversation or any relationship. You both have to kind of be comfortable with whatever the pace is, But so, I mean, but also the fact that she was your school teacher is a good thing, because you have a previous history, and that's good. There's a connection. She knows you and likes you, so that's very good. So, yeah. So, but anything else you need, Henry? Anything else?
Nope, that's it. No.
Wow! Congratulations.
We finally have Judith.
There's Judith. Look at that.
Hey,
wow.
Hey, Judith.
We can't hear you. You're muted.
Unmute.
Jesus.
I have been so crazy busy. I may be getting a puppy.
Okay.
We hope.
Well.
So I've been busy with all of that. Don't ask me. The guy didn't know what he was doing in terms of payment, so I had to send him a Visa card, and then he had to take pictures. It's a whole material. But hopefully, I'll be shipping on Monday.
Wow.
And I will have a 13-week-old Sheltie puppy. Who I'm naming Zicree too.
Look out. Okay.
I've been looking for a Sheltie for 2 years, and I hope this works out.
Yep.
In the meantime, I gave a couple of really good auditions, came very close to booking for voiceover.
Good.
Which my agent was really happy, because, as you all know, I just got my voice back.
Yay.
I'm working on my singing voice, and I did a whole bunch of stuff for Apocalyptic. It's almost done. It'll be done this weekend. I want to get it done before El Paparino comes.
Sure.
Because, as you know, between him and the other two, I won't have life to myself. I can't imagine anything more funner.
Yes.
It's going to be dog night.
It's okay. Yeah, that's going to be great.
And so I've got some really good stuff for Apocalyptic. I've tightened it up tremendously, and I put some more of God in it.
Oh, good.
Because if you want an actress to play her, you gotta have. So I'm looking forward to a table read towards the end of April. I think that's a realistic thing to think about.
Great.
Hey,
Great.
that's
Terrific.
I've been working, what can
Good.
I tell you?
Good.
That's great.
Going to hand therapy twice a week. Oh God, does that hurt?
Yes. Yes.
It should only feel like that my hand feels.
Yes, but at least you're the person doing it for you is an expert. I mean, Senor Wences, it doesn't get better than that. To give you a very old-fashioned joke, for those who don't know, Senor Wences.
Very funny. I'll have to tell it to the guys
yes.
at the what you call it. They're
yeah.
really great,
and
it's a good social outlet for me too, because everybody's funny and everybody's rooting for me to get a dog.
Yes,
everybody's giving me suggestions.
Yes.
So I'll look forward to this. If he, oh God, he's so cute. He's brown and white, and he's got his little shelty ears. Oh, he's adorable. He's so cute. You're felling already at him, I can see. But everybody's invited to meet him.
Great. Well, terrific.
So, my birthday's coming up, so I don't know. I may do something.
Yes.
And that's about it. I've just been working on the voice, working on the script, trying to get a dog, all that good stuff.
Great. Well, that's great. Congratulations. Anything else you need, Judith?
No, what do I need? I need a dog bed, a leash, a clicker.
Yeah.
We're going shopping on Friday.
Cool. That's
My
great.
attendant and I are going shopping on Friday. But the nice thing is that I have this wonderful attendant who is so looking forward to being an aunt for your dogs. She loves them, and they love her. They go crazy when they see her. But she's also looking forward to the new puppy. So it'll be fun.
Great.
Yay.
Well, congratulations. Yay. Good. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we have a Bob Rich question.
Hello, Bob.
He wants to know, what are some examples of short stories or novels in any genre where the authors are masterful at creating mood and atmosphere?
That's an interesting question. And by the way, Judith, remember to mute your thing. Yeah. Philip K. Dick, of course, is terrific at creating extremely odd and disorienting moods and environments. Who else? Geez, I'm just going through it in my head. It's. I mean, Heinlein was interesting in some of his better stuff, like Have Spacesuit Will Travel. I mean, if I had some time to think about it, I'd come up, I'm sure, with a ton of different names. It just depends on the individual author and the individual story. Harlan Ellison, as best, could do that very effectively. Frank Herbert, well, certainly with Dune, but again, all of those writers from that era were turning out so much stuff that it could be very hit and miss. Theodore Sturgeon was a master stylist, of course. It just varied. Ray Bradbury was terrific, at doing that. Very few people know that Ray Bradbury wrote very widely. I mean, he wrote really dark horror stories, as well as sort of the Ray Bradbury kind of, uplifting stuff. And he had quite a range. And so that's sort of what comes to mind. So let's see. Now, have we done Kayla yet, or?
Yeah, but we haven't done Carol. Right?
We haven't done Carol Field. Okay, Carol, go for
Carol.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be here. Judith, I'm glad you're feeling better. You sound great. You sound really great. If any of you think you're having subclinical neurological symptoms, the pollen count is through the roof.
Wow.
So you're not except for David Bartlett. So
yes.
So just get your freaking Zyrtec. I want to eat a box of Zyrtec right now. I guess, okay, so what am I in here? After 20 musicals in New York, 36 commercials. It's interesting. I've done 6 or 7 backers auditions or stage readings since the pandemic. And I did one a couple weeks ago. And I think I told you this one lady saw me in it. She called me, said, I want you to be the lead in my next one. And so, this is not a backers audition. There's no money behind it, but it's fun. It's fun. So I'm going to be in the stage reading, and I'm playing the lead. And all she told me was, it's a lonely woman. That'll be fun. We discussed it, right? We discussed it last week. So I get this script, and this is really a good learning piece for me. I love playing offbeat, gunky, horrible characters. I love it. But this script is offbeat and not well written. The character is beige, as Elaine's shirt. So I'm going. So what came up for me was I said, "Oh yeah, I have to put my face on the screen with something where there's really nothing there." So, and I could have called her. I don't want to call her a milker. I said, I remember my darling, wonderful friend Charles Grodin said to me, "When you're casting something, don't ever judge it. Just do your work."
Yes.
So I'm going over the script, and there's really nothing to find. So I have to subtext the hell out of it, and I'm going to make her kind of highly bipolar.
Okay.
I don't care what the writer did. All the writers said was that she's lonely. So okay, fine. So because there's really nothing there. So I'm just going to put, what's that horrible expression, balls to the wall, and just I'm just you know. So it's a week from tomorrow, and I'll let you know how it goes, because it's me putting a layer on what's written, because it's really not in the writing at all. The writing is all about information. It's not about a character. There's no arc. Nothing's happening. So it's a learning experience, and I have to get my ego out of the way and just do the work.
Great.
Good for you. Good for you. I know I had like an actor friend call me who was supposed to play a social worker with someone who had probably never met a social worker or seen one, even in
the
a
writer?
distance.
Yeah.
The writer. And we did the same thing. It was like pompous and hideously written and really stupid. And we just talked subtext. And we, you know, what's being said beneath the words, and she had to do it in front of a casting director who had always been pretty cool, but we talked subtext for this whole horribly written piece. She said, "I'm having trouble with this," and I said, "I can see, you know, this is why it stinks." But we went through the whole thing for pure subtext, and the casting director jumped up after she'd finished and hugged her.
Oh yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. My ego came up like, "Oh God, I don't want to be seeing it," but give me a break.
Yes.
So,
Sometimes the actor has to be the writer. More often than not.
But subtextually. Yeah. So great. So anything else, Carol?
That's all for this week, I think.
Okay.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, great. Well, 3 cheers. Yay. Great. So Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Okay.
Yes, we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question from Kevin Scott 76.
Hi, Kevin.
Another one of our regulars.
Yes.
He says, "Do you know any Ukrainian science fiction writers or people involved in science fiction?"
You know, it's tricky because I know Russian ones and I know Polish ones. Stanislaw Lem, of course, was the great Eastern Bloc writer of Solaris and many other wonderful novels and stories. The Strugatsky brothers, I think, are Russian, but again, you never know who has a Ukrainian on one side of the family or whatever. Elaine's family were from Odessa, which at the time was Russia and now is, of course, Ukraine. So you know, but beyond that, I'm not that familiar with those writers. So unfortunately, but Solaris, for anyone who hasn't seen the Tarkovsky film of Solaris or read the novel, it's a really masterful. It's wonderful. So let's see, Michelle Hart, you're next on my screen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
That's nice too.
Okay. Let's see. I have something that helpful and interesting for our 2 composer people, and neither one of them is here. So if either Akira or Bonnie shows up,
yes.
I have some things that would be of interest for both of them.
Good.
Do we have anybody who's in WGA?
Well,
you guys?
we are, yeah.
We are, yes,
you know.
Oh, Film Society's starting up again live.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
That's neat.
So for those of you who are, would like to go back to the Film Society screenings and actually sit in a theater and look at a big screen, which is a wonderful thing to do. Other than that, let's see. I was booked on 2 separate things for doing background, and they both got canceled, which is just not making me thrilled. The new people who don't know me, I have been acting most of my life, and when I wasn't acting, I was dancing, and that was mostly ballet, but also jazz, and so that's who I am and what I do. For a while, I was a recurring character on General Hospital, playing a spy. Please do not ask me why there was a spy in General Hospital. And no, I never in even a hospital setting. I never saw anybody in a lab coat. It was totally strange, but
That's
then
funny.
that was how soaps are.
Yes.
So at least, I did a lot of TV stuff in the past, and right now I'm doing whatever comes in that has a union membership on it, which means a lot of it has been background work because I'm not 25. It does seem lately to be more work for people who are those of us who have been 25 a couple of times. I've been 30 twice, so that's a while. I am available for table reads. I wish I was less available, but I'm available for table reads. I've done a fair amount of editing of words on paper, not editing film. And so if anybody needs somebody with an eye for grammar and spelling and stuff like that, and punctuation, I'm among a different group of friends. I'm known as the Mad Grammarian.
Cool.
So that's kind of about it. Other than that, let's see, there is someone starting up a large and complicated and very lavish dance studio out in the valley. And I stopped to see what it was because if somebody has a sign up that says ballet, my car apparently turns that direction automatically. And there's some possibility that I'll be doing some teaching for them.
Oh, wow. That'd
cool.
be interesting.
I explained that there's no way anybody in their right mind would want me to teach children. I teach adults.
Yes.
Judith, if you want somebody with an authority voice for one of your things, you said somebody's playing God, and apparently that's something that I'm good at. And my son, he says I have a great authority voice.
That's great.
Cool. Great. So anything else, Michelle? Nope.
That's it.
Okay. Yay. 3 cheers. Great. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have a new commenter today, Charlie Griffin.
Hi, Charlie.
He wants to know when exactly is episode 2 of Space Command coming out?
In the next few weeks. We hope to be able to ship out the Blu-rays and the DVDs by the end of April. David Bartlett, as he mentioned, he had a mild stroke, and so certain things are probably going to slow the release a little bit, but not a lot. And we're on the final stretch. We're putting in the final visual effects shots, doing the final color correction. We've gotten the score plugged in, it's the full orchestra. It's really cool. And we're very close. And as we said, we're finalizing the DVDs now. That's the cover. There it is. So it's really, 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 really cool. So and we're actively shooting hour 6 of Space Command now. We have one more scene to shoot of the framing story in Space Command Forgiveness, and then it's on to the big set piece on the alien spaceship that we've been building. So cool stuff. And so Mark Gushwitz, you're next on my screen, the legendary Mark Gushwitz.
No, I was just doing a message to Dave Edison because I have a question I'll ask you. Did you just say, because I got here late, did you just say that Dave Bartlett had a mild stroke?
Yes. And he's fortunately mild is the key phrase. He's a little bit weakened on the left side, but his mind is clear and so forth.
Some home
He's
health
back
care.
home now.
They'll have some home health care, physical therapy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it happened several days before the Oscars, and he was deciding that there were all kinds of reasons why it wasn't a stroke.
Yeah.
Until he went to an Oscar event, and a friend of his, she went up to him and she got him into a hospital because she could see that there was something seriously wrong.
Yes.
But it was several days before he got help, and then he was a few days in the hospital, and he didn't want to tell anyone because his brother was up for an Oscar and won it for sound.
Yes.
But then, so they kept him a few days and he's home, but he does need assistance.
Yes.
But it was mild. It was mild.
I spoke with my attendant. She's going to call her people at PASC.
Great.
And we'll see what we can come up with.
Great. That's great. Terrific.
Because she's marvelous.
Good.
She's marvelous. I have her 3 hours a day, and she takes me and schleps me and brings me and laughs with me. She's absolutely marvelous.
That's
she
great.
Really is.
That's great. That's
so
great.
We'll get you somebody good, David.
Yes.
That's
Terrific.
great.
That's great. Thanks. So go ahead,
he,
Mark.
Do you know if he's watching?
Well, probably not at the moment. I mean, he was here earlier on Zoom. He's back home
He
now.
had to leave.
He had to leave. You know.
So he was here for a bit, and
yeah.
But he did have to. He did have to leave.
Was he tired? Because maybe I'll wait till tomorrow to give him a call.
Probably a good idea. Yeah, I would say it's a good idea.
He is a little bit knocked out, but basically he's doing well, but he will need some physical therapy and a little time.
Yes. Okay, great, but go ahead, please.
All this stuff's been scaring me because I've been stressing out a lot and high blood pressure, and I've been worried. And David's been really busy and stressed as well. So I'll call him tomorrow because I hope he's doing well.
Yes.
So somebody earlier on asked about authors that are really good at setting mood and tone. And of course, you went back to a lot of the old classics, but there's a couple of people that are still writing today that do it really, really well if the person's still watching.
Sure.
First of all, two people who set tone really well for me, like I like that. When I read their books, it's more about because of how they write and really create a world and the tone of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I like that more than the stories they tell sometimes. Are Clive Barker and Robert McCammon.
Cool.
I love how Robert McCammon can really set this world up for you.
Wow.
And then somebody who tells great stories, and I think nobody really sets a world or a tone or anything better than is Peter Straub.
He's very good.
Who wrote like Ghost Story.
Yes.
That's one of the. He had one of the best opening lines I've ever read.
Yeah, in Ghost Story, which is I won't tell you the worst thing I did, but I'll tell you the worst thing that ever happened to me. That's a great opening line.
Yeah.
So yeah, but so go ahead, please.
Great. So anyway, what's going on with me? Working the regular editing gigs. Just sent you the Comic-Con 40-minute Comic-Con piece for the bonus on Space Command. I still have to resend you the Ian McKay with his lower third being consistent with everybody else's lower thirds throughout all the bonus features. And then I think we're almost done because we haven't decided whether we're doing the grab bag or not.
Yes.
I'm going to wait on that.
Cool.
So working on a review for my website for a movie that I'd never heard of so about a week ago. A friend showed it to me, and it was a underexposed film for me. And when I was done watching, I'm like, I want to tell more people about this. It's called Big Bad Wolves. It's a Israeli film.
Wow.
And it's the first Israeli film. As a Jew, I shouldn't be saying this, but it's the first Israeli film I think I've ever seen.
Wow.
And now I think I want to check out some more.
Wow.
The website for people who want to check it out is Underexposed Cinematic Treasures. I'm going to take my first day off in a long time where I can just relax. I was in Arizona, but there was no relaxation going on there. A lot of stress and stuff.
Right.
But going to WonderCon on Saturday. A friend of mine who's been in business for 40 years as a animator got me and my wife guest passes. So we're going to be going to that. Is Spaceman going to WonderCon?
No, no one flagged it for me, and frankly, because we're getting ready for our shoot in Sicily, I'm fine not to go. I'm totally fine.
Okay, well then I guess I won't see you.
Yeah, no.
You guys just go.
No.
But so I'm actually looking forward to that because it's going to be a day of real relaxation.
Great.
Before the day I do my taxes, which will be Sunday. And what else? It's not official yet, but I was talking to a director that I've done multiple projects on. I actually won awards doing projects for her. And I lost my writer for my feature because that person needed to go make some money to live. And I just jokingly threw out at her, why don't you write my feature? Because she's a really good writer. And she's all like, I would love to do that.
Oh, wow.
So we're now talking about that, and we have a working relationship, so I already know how that's going to work because I've edited many things for her.
Wow, cool.
And I've read her stuff, and she's really good. So I was getting all depressed because I didn't have a writer for it, and now let's hope it all goes well.
Cool.
Oh, that's great.
Other than that, just waiting on notes for the Blu-ray features.
Cool.
Because I'm assuming there's going to be some on this Comic-Con. It's 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe you'll love it. Maybe.
Well, we
maybe
started watching it, and your selects were very good.
So yeah. So we'll take a run at it.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you shortly.
I hope you'll like it. I ordered it in a certain way. The only thing I was kind of curious, the last two clips, they were really cool. I just didn't know where to put them, so I kind of tacked them at the end. Or actually, the last clip of Mira, and then the last clip I just thought was probably the best way to close it out. So I don't know. Let me know.
Okay.
Hopefully we're good, and then we can move on, and you get those Blu-rays out.
Yes.
Because I know that's all you're waiting on is me, probably. Other than that, things are better for me. I'm feeling a lot better.
Good.
I was down for a little bit because of things that were going on in my life, but now I'm feeling better. Although I'm a little down now to hear about David because I like David. So, I think that's about it.
Okay, yay! 3 cheers.
All right.
Excellent. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we have another question from Bruce Moore.
Okay.
How do you go about incorporating foreshadowing and flashbacks into a screenplay properly to serve the emotion of the story?
I use those things very sparingly, particularly flashbacks. A lot of writers can use them far too much, and of course now audiences are used to having things jump back and forth in time without as much being telegraphed about that. But I like foreshadowing things because, again, you want to have things be well structured and pay off what you set up. It just comes from planning and structuring and knowing what you're doing. You want to be fairly light-handed with your metaphors, so they aren't like it isn't flashing author's message, but if you're doing it right, it's really really lovely to behold. You want to say something, Elaine, about that?
No.
Okay, cool. So let's see. I guess Galinda, you're next on my screen.
Hello, beautiful people. It's a great day, and I'm not even sure why.
Good.
I went to pop in to visit to say hi to my mom earlier today when I went on my break from work, and I'm usually like so wound up and stressed out. I'm high strung by nature. I'm kind of wound up anyway. And she goes, "Well, you must be having really good customer relations today." And I'm going, "No, I just for some reason I'm not letting it bother me." And the only thing I can think of is that I had months ago ordered one of those, they call them painting, and I say painting, diamond dot painting sets. And you just pick up little bits of sparkly plastic and stick it on, the numbers on this thing. And it's like, I think it helped defragment my brain. It's like kind of basically like a good old fashioned Windows 98 defrag. And I'm like, all the little ordered bits that I'm doing. And for some reason today just stayed. I had my regular style of customers all day, but it just did not get to me. I did not get all stressed out. And I'm like, there must be something to this here, because that's the only thing I can think of different. That and I finally finished my move, and that's done and out of my way, and I don't have to stress on that anymore. But this seems to be, more profound. But I ordered hair color. I'm not going to be this patchy stuff after Saturday. I'm going to be rainbow colors again if I can get it all plastered on. And I'm getting my boss put in the paperwork for some paid time off for me to go stay with my cousin. Got a scary diagnosis a couple weeks ago. She got a small cell lymphoma or small cell cancer. I don't think it's a lymphoma on her lungs and her heart.
Oh no.
And we're, very, very tense. Well, she went to the doctor yesterday and they did the biopsy and they got the word back that it's not as bad as they initially thought.
Oh, thank goodness.
Good.
And so, hallelujah. She's got a friend who's already come out to stay with her and help her out with stuff. But her friend needs to go home for about a week. So my boss put in the paperwork for me to get paid. Otherwise, I'm just taking the time off unpaid. I told him it's not a big deal, but it'd be nice if I get paid for it. So I'm probably going to end up getting paid to go hang out with her for a week.
Oh, that's great.
I'm going to carry all my sage to burn and my feathers and things and all my good energies and, work the best happy magics I can.
Cool.
And, and I'm hoping, that it's very, very positive. I got to keep my energy real positive. She's my super favorite cousin. So she's like the one. We're closest. We're most alike of all the people in our family. We're the two. They're just like peas in a pod. And so, yeah, it's going to be a little different, but I will be able to pop in on the, while I'm there and say hey. But it'll be new scenery out in the country, so I'll be able to play with my drone camera. Not worry about making these helicopters. You got to be careful about any kind of flight lines.
Yes,
because you can get people upset and you can get into trouble if you're flying a drone in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, but yeah, she's kind of off the beaten path a little more so than we are here. So I'll be able to do some practicing.
That'll be great.
And but yeah, it's looking very, very positive about getting my pilot shot and getting that rolling so I can have something to show. So point and laugh, please. I'd rather do, I don't mind. And I lean toward comedy anyway, so I expect pointing and laughing will be a good thing. Yeah, no big needs at the moment. Just glad to, be able to say hi. I'm glad to hear that David's stroke was mild.
Yes.
That's, that can be very scary.
Yes.
And I've heard of more cases. I've heard so many times. It's like someone said, hey, you may need to go see a doctor to somebody because they noticed a difference. Like, so, my grandmother had a stroke and didn't realize it. And somebody else pointed out that one side of her face wasn't
working,
clicking right.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's one of those things, when you love somebody, maybe you don't be afraid to say, hey, are you okay?
Yes.
Yes. It doesn't look right.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why it's also very important that we not live lives of isolation, that we be with people who care about us, because that's what we all need each other to get through this journey that we're all on. So absolutely.
And people can be very afraid to reach out and say something. You don't know where somebody's been.
Yes.
I got a friend who somebody else told me that this friend needed a little bit of help last week. And knowing where she come from, knowing her family, if she asks for $1 for something for her children, her family acts like she's asking for heroin. So I know she's not going to ask for help. She can't. Physically she can't bring herself to directly say, hey, I need a little help. So I reached out and said, hey, I have this excess and I'd like to send it to you. Yeah, I've been on Zoom with people and I'm glad that we've had this. But I do miss more of the direct contact.
Yes.
I don't miss my commute to work, and I'm not excited in the least about any idea of going back to the office. But I do miss hugs.
Yeah.
And I miss in person. I miss the nuances and the things you can notice. Because micro expressions are something you can watch out for closely. You can see when somebody's hurting.
Yes. Yes.
Even if they're hiding it.
Yes.
Even if they're good at it, you can watch for those little things. And I'm not here I'm here to be a part of this planet and this culture, this civilization. I'm not here to be away from it. And,
good.
It's cool to see things opening up, and it doesn't look like chaos is broken out there.
Not yet. So far so good. But that's good. But it's good to see you, and let us know how things go with your cousin, and
definitely will.
Thank you so much. Good to see you. Yay. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have an interesting question from Shannon Williams.
Yay. Hi, Shannon.
She says, I made a comedic short film about Bigfoot's little cousin called The Skunk Ape. I have it on YouTube and in several film festivals, but need advice on getting more views.
Yes. I always like to find people who have accomplished what I want, and then I get in touch with them and I find out how they did it. Because everyone wants to give advice, and often the advice doesn't help. So what I would do is I would go around YouTube and see who's getting exposure, who's getting that kind of response. Because for instance, one of the people I just talked to recently was a guy named Joe Scott, who has, I think, over 1 million subscribers on his YouTube channel, and he pointed me to some people who can be of help in terms of getting more exposure. So I'm going to reach out to them and see what comes of this. but that's what I would suggest. But also be very clear on what you want to happen. For me, I do things with the thought of, okay, this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, because again, it's sort of like, okay, it's good to have a lot of people see something, but where are you headed? How can it aid your career very specifically? So,
but there are lots of tricks to getting traffic.
Yes. But the main thing about getting people to watch stuff is people, if you might want to send a link to people who might want to feature this or talk about it on their channels or on their sites or on their blogs or whatever, and because that can bang a drum for this, so
or even their podcasts,
yes,
or
yes,
radio shows. Like,
yes,
I'm pretty sure. What was it? That one radio show that you were on?
Yes, Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
They would get a kick out of that.
Possibly, and but you might just want to Google cryptozoology and then just like send links to all the major ones, and so that's what I would suggest. So let's see. So Dave, you're next.
Yay,
I see Dave Edison. Yay!
Yay! Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Hi, kids. It's me, Dave Edison, your Space Command editor.
Yay! And star on-screen talent.
Well, yes, episode 2. I'm there briefly, and I'm the editor, so it's going to be very brief. So, anyway, it's been a busy week. It took a turn for the worst today, but we've got. Let's see. Mark sent me a Mr. Sci-Fi video that he wanted me to augment as a 30-minute video. It's now about 23. I trimmed it down and added more stuff to it in the past few days.
Cool.
It took about 30 hours, but it's in your
Jesus.
It's in your inbox now.
Thank you.
I know that you probably didn't see this as elaborate as I did, but hope you like it.
No, I'm sure I will.
Other than that, the building is redoing the piping.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, replacing old pipes with copper pipes.
Mm-hmm.
So they needed the garage cleared early in the morning. So I said, well, let me just put my car out on the street, and it wasn't there.
Oh, wow.
When I went to bring it back in.
Oh, wow.
No.
Jesus.
So they were starting too early, and I knew I wasn't going to be up in time because I tend to work a little bit late. So been here 30 years in LA, and the first time that I've had a car stolen.
Huh. Wow.
So I filed a police report, and just annoying.
Yes.
And there's some, it's a 27-year-old Honda Civic.
Yes.
It's not a valuable car. It's parts, if anything.
Yes.
It's got, it has some things in the glove compartment and places like that.
Yes.
Stuff in the trunk that I would not like to have lost.
Mm.
More than probably not wanting to have lost the car. But anyway, it was.
Hondas have what's called, I think it's a catalyst converter that goes for a lot of money, because I had a 23-year-old Honda stolen, and that's what they took. And the mechanic said those things are worth a lot of money.
Wow.
That could be it. Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, this thing was, it's a 97, so quite a few years old, 25-year-old car. But anyway, one of the things that was in the trunk was a brand new 5 terabyte hard drive that had all of the not a copy of. I had a copy of the footage from the recent Space Command shoots that I wanted to put in a separate location, that it wasn't in my house in case something happened to the drives in my house, because I'm trying to get that drive to Mark and Elaine. But now we're gonna have to start from scratch on that.
Yes.
One,
but the thing is, this is why it's very important to have a redundancy on all of your footage, because if that had been the only copy, we would have been very screwed, so.
I have redundancy on the important stuff.
Yes.
I don't have redundancy on all of the minor stuff. There are way too many hard drives. If we end up in a production facility with 100 terabyte server, then sure.
Yeah.
Dump everything into it with plenty of room to spare. But I'm looking at here. Let me turn this around. These are, there's your Zicrees hard drives, and there's other Space Command hard drives, and these are smaller hard drives that just say Dave Edison, which have some Space Command stuff on it. There's your main hard drives here, and up here there's other Space Command hard drives.
Yeah.
And so and a backup.
It's a good life.
Machine,
yeah.
In case anything happens to the computer.
You're doing great.
So yeah, that's kind of too many hard drives to have redundant. Plus, I have to put them somewhere else and keep them up to date. It's not easy.
Yes.
So anyway, but we'll get that drive replaced.
Yes.
It was in the trunk, and who knows if Mark is right, then maybe they went and grabbed the catalytic converter and left the thing. The rest of it somewhere. Who knows?
Well,
anyway,
we've had cars.
It's just a car. There are a lot of people have worse problems, as we heard
tonight
from Mr. Bartlett, and
yes.
as we hear each night on the news.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's just a car.
But the thing that's really amazing is that our Toyota Corolla was stolen. I thought I was never going to see it again. It was like 1996, and this was like about maybe 3-4 years ago. And the cops came and they took a report. I thought, well, I'm not going to see this car. And by midnight, they found a guy joyriding in it, and they brought it back to me. And so that was like, and the thing is, he had left a lot of his stuff in my car. So I actually went to the jail because his eyeglasses were in there and his keys and stuff like that. And, and his cell phone. So I just, dropped that off at the jail. But they told me that a certain age of Toyota Camry and Toyota Corolla, there was one key that would start all of them. And so thieves knew this, and that's why they were stealing older cars. And so that was very interesting.
But we've had multiple cars stolen.
Yeah.
Well, we've always gotten them back, sometimes in pieces.
Yes, but this one wasn't even stripped.
Got them back. No,
yeah, it was amazing.
No, we had seats removed at one point.
Yeah.
But
we'll see what happens.
Okay, well, good luck, Dave.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give it a shot.
Yes.
Anyway, like I said, just a car.
Yes.
There's a question I have.
Yes, Dave.
So my buddy in New York, my oldest friend, and well, he's not my oldest friend. I'm older than he is, but by a year.
Yes.
But my longest friend, he's trying to get rid of a lot of stuff, and he's got stuff that he's put up on eBay, and he's a film buff, and he's got stuff cluttering his 5th floor walk-up apartment like a moviola.
Wow.
That just sitting there that he's not. That's just gathering dust and weighing down a building that was built in 1889.
Wow.
So that doesn't need any more weight in it, particularly a moviola.
Right.
But one of the things he found that he's trying to figure out what to do with, and he doesn't think there's any use for it on eBay, is he's got a bunch of these boxes. And these boxes are Technicolor boxes with extra prints of Kramer versus Kramer.
Huh.
Whoa.
There's none of the sound. There's no mag track. These are not reels. They're not even on cores. They're just tightly wound spools of film.
Wow.
Do you have? And he's not necessarily looking to sell them.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any value in them, but he doesn't want to throw something out that might be of use to somebody.
Right. But But they don't have sound on them?
No, it's just they're not prints of the film. They're work in progress.
Huh.
Footage.
Wow. That's very interesting. Well, so they're like the dailies?
I'm imagining. I don't know. He doesn't have any way of looking at them. It's 35 millimeter, and actually his moviola is 16 millimeter. So he's not going to run it on that.
I mean, he could try and put it up on eBay. I mean, if someone was a real collector, they might find that stuff very interesting.
I would start with any university that has archives.
Yeah.
And especially if they have any kind of film program and archives.
What I would suggest, well, it depends on if he wants money or not. If it were me, I would reach out to Heritage Auctions, and I would also put it up on eBay. He might strike gold. On the other hand, he could also Google what archives hold the Dustin Hoffman collection and what archives hold the Meryl Streep collection, and reach out to those archives, because the raw footage from their films would be of great value to scholars.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming that his raw footage is not any final reels. So
yes.
That's interesting. That's a good suggestion. I will pass that along to him. In fact, I'll flag it on this Mr. Sci-Fi YouTube and
Swell.
send in the link.
Swell. Good.
So good.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's about it. Moving
Great.
on.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Dave. Yay. Good job. Good job. So, is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes. We have another Scott Baker question.
Okay. Hi, Scott.
What grand vista or vistas on Earth which you have visited have rarely or never appeared on screen, but you think would light up the screen on location?
Well, we're about to go to Sicily to shoot these ancient Greek ruins that have not been overexposed. So, I mean, when they started to shoot in Iceland, like for instance for Prometheus, that was pretty remarkable. You don't know stuff until you see it, you find it, and so it's case by case. But there's so many really amazing environments. Death Valley was quite something. It has a lot of variety. But it's wherever we've been, there's been interesting things. So yeah, I think there's enormous variety and possibility. So
I mean, especially in what they call the flyover country,
Yeah.
there's a lot more there than they think.
Yes. So I see Bonnie has joined us. So Michelle wanted to talk to you, Bonnie, and also to Akira. So but I don't know if you want to go, Michelle. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have or have not seen, you should see what's referred to as the Hollywood issue of Vanity Fair, issue number 736. They did a number of stories about different aspects of Hollywood, but this was specifically to composers who are taking the credit, people at the Hans Zimmer sort of level, who are taking credit for things that were actually written by what would be called, if it was painters, the atelier.
Mm-hmm.
They're workshop people, people who work for them and do bits and pieces of composition. And the main composer takes the credit and the lion's share of the money. And Vanity Fair's take on this, which was very, very extensive, was to shed light on it and let people know that this is going on and that it is unfair to composers, and that hopefully something will be done about it so that the lesser people who work underneath people at the Zimmer level will get some credit and some bucks.
Good.
And it is there is a newer Vanity Fair that's on the stands right now, but this is the one that immediately preceded it, called the Hollywood issue.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So Bonnie, do you want to take your turn?
Sure. And what was the number of you said the issue number?
736. It doesn't bear a date, it just bears a number.
Oh, okay. I just made a note of that.
Cool.
What's on the cover, except they did 6 different covers and distributed them in different places. So mine has an Asian actor whose name I can't remember, his last name is Yu, but apparently there were like 6 different covers for that instead of Hollywood issue.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, I know that that's a problem. I mean, I haven't tended to, some people have done a lot of ghostwriting or,
the artist, Ghost and Theme.
Ghost and Theme, did you say?
The ghost squirrel in the machine.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's an issue. And like when I did the USC film scoring program, I'd already done a lot of composing, arranging and other stuff, and then just went into composing. But a lot of those people, when they come out there, composers' assistants, and I'd hear stories. These people would work for free, and I don't know how many weeks or months, or they just get a cup of coffee just to be near Hans Zimmer or whatever. But I never did that. But yeah, I would never hire, ask someone to intern or something and not pay them. I couldn't do that, but I guess a lot do. But for me, let's see. Sorry, I came late. I'm still doing this workshop from 4:30 to 6:30, another couple weeks, and then I'll be earlier again. And so I finished, talked a lot about my filmmaker friend who does all these film musicals. So he did, while waiting to get back on track for this film, he was about another feature he was going to do just before COVID. He just did a short film. I know he had the festival to submit it to by Monday. And anyway, so we did that. And then I'm working on 2 musicals. And I know I'm going to be interviewed for the, I think that one is the Alliance of Women Film Composers are doing. There's someone that's been talking to me and really, so that's going to be nice. And I know I'm forgetting other things, but yeah, just keeping busy with things. Yeah, it's fun. I've been, of course, I use Finale notation software because I think very notationally, not just, people who just play in notes, but I always like to transcribe from my mind the notes, and so I have written scores of everything, but also, and many of my scores are played by live players, even small groups, which brings a lot of, that just brings so much by having live players. And then, but I've been having fun learning Logic. I always, if not working in Finale, if not working in Finale, Digital Performer is the one I'd use as the DAW, Digital or Audio Workstation. But now I've been learning Logic, and there's so many different. I can see why a lot of people have switched to that. So it's kind of fun to learn a new software and see what something another software can do. So that's kind of cool. I'm probably forgetting some things, but I'll probably sneak off kind of quick because now a neighbor said, "Come on over for dinner."
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. That's great.
Over there, but
cool.
And if you need, I have space for one of your cars when you're
great. Thank you, Bonnie. So we'll take you up on that. Absolutely.
I've got space for one.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you so
it's
much.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Okay. Yay, Bonnie.
All right,
so is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. We have another Scott Baker question.
Okay.
Who says, is the term background actor synonymous with extra?
I think so.
Case,
yeah.
What's the largest number of either you've employed for a scene or production?
Yes.
What production was it?
There was an episode of Sliders that I wrote and produced called World Killer. And the idea was our characters go to an alternate Earth where Quinn, our hero, in that Earth built a device that slid everyone in the world except him to another Earth. So he thought he just destroyed, killed everyone, and then he's the last man on Earth. But in reality, there's another Earth where the population doubled in a moment. And now it's 5 years later, and our guys go to that world with him to find out what happened. And they have to make the decision whether they're going to restore the worlds back to the way they were now that, things have moved on. And so we shot a scene on the back lot of Universal at the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas house. And we just crammed it full of extras, sort of like almost like homeless people, to give that impression of an overcrowded Earth. And so there was a bunch of folks in that, including my friend Nick Roberts, who's appeared also in Space Command and many other things we've done. And it was great fun. It was great fun. And then I also did an episode called Slide Cage that also had a ton of people in it, both human and Cro-Mag, which were these sort of like sort of the Klingons of sliders, more or less. So yeah. So Don Balderramos, I see you. Go for it.
Hey, good evening. I want to make sure I caught you guys before you took off to Italy.
Yes.
Sounds like it's going to be, well, I want to say fun, but I know you'll be working. So,
it'll be fun.
I'm sure you'll get some fun in there. Elaine, your hair looks so good.
Oh,
yeah,
you.
it's great.
Yeah. I'm glad you're feeling better,
Yeah.
Thank you.
With that shoulder. So it's basically just kind of wanted to chime in. I have I'm working on I have a video pitch that I do, and it's sending it out to producers, writers, directors, casting directors, people. Just a real quickie, less than a minute that I send out. So
great.
Just to be in touch with people and
good.
Get myself out there. I do have a trailer that was dropped. I guess a couple of weeks ago for a movie I did called Monstrous. And I have a couple of scenes opposite Christina Ricci. And
cool.
And I'm in the trailer.
Huh, that's neat.
So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to say hello to everybody, Michelle and Bonnie and Adam and right down the line.
That's great.
It's good to see you.
That's pretty much it, unless somebody wants to do a Q&A here real quick. You know what? What's always interested me is in talking about, you were talking about composers. And this is just kind of, I mean, I might be the only one, but since the digital age and special effects with CGI and everything, whoops.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys see
me?
Me?
We can see you. Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, I just flashed out for a second. I was always wondering about this world of cinematography. Okay, so like in the old days, like if you see, George Stevens movie, and you could go on and on. The great cinematography. So now my question is that I'll look at like a Dune or not even Dune. Let's say I can't think of a movie, but any movie right now, and you look out. Let's say if it's a modern day Western, 1883 or whatever, and you look out there and there's this just beautiful, cinematography with the sunset and the trees and the mountains, but now I go, well, is that real? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It seems like the cinematographers of the new age are the ones that are really getting gypped in a sense, if you know what I mean. Because now it's like, well, that's great cinematography, but is it cinematography? Do you have a comment on that?
It was real.
Well, the big change really came when they could do so much more with altering color in post. A great example is "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," where they have a little featurette that shows the original color of shot on the day, and then how they altered it in post, and so it gives them a lot more tools than back in the day. But in reality, film and TV have always been massively collaborative media, and if you're going to work in those media, you want to honor your team and give them their creative due, but also everyone recognizes that they're a part of the equation, not the entire equation. And
but really good DPs are really good DPs.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
They see with a refined eye, like an artist, and a lot of it actually is real. They just see things from the right angle with the right lighting, and it's still a lot of it has to do with their artistry.
Yes, of course. And but it's definitely when you see great cinematography, it's just takes your breath away.
Oh
yeah. So anything else, Don?
No, that's it.
Okay, yay. Cheers.
Good time in
Thank you. So Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, but I think Michelle had her hand up.
Yes, Michelle, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to say, great cinematography that was real stuff. But Power of the Dog was phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
was nominated for cinematography. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Of course, they were trying for Montana and did it, I think, in New Zealand.
Wow.
But it's nevertheless, it was real.
Yeah. Great. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have a question from Mark Lungo.
Hello, Mark.
Speaking of the scenes shot in Sicily, he wants to know, will those scenes actually be set in Sicily?
No. They're going to be set on Altair 4, which is the planet in Forbidden Planet. So, but we do actually have a scene now that we've shot where it's
you should have said they'd be set in Montana.
Yes. And no, but we actually have shot a scene set on an Italian spaceship, or we should say Sicilian spaceship, where the captain and his first officer are speaking Sicilian, because we drafted our cinematographer Massimiliano Trevis and our line producer Andrea Maraglia to play those roles, and it's really delightful and fun. So
I gotta talk with them and see if they know any of my relatives, because I'm a quarter.
Yes, definitely, yes. So cool. So I guess Akira, you're next.
Okay, so how are you? So I'm Akira, film composer, guitarist, and Japanese language instructor. And mainly I'm working on a horror or suspense kind of film, non-tonality music, and I'm really, interested in. But I have never seen a policy. If somebody asks me, if you like my music, I will do my best, And also I'm gigging around in Hollywood, like a party or in a ceremony gig, and I'm playing some jazz standard, for the audience mingling.
Cool.
Yes, and also I'm teaching Japanese online to make my living. That's my, my revenue, big revenue right now. So yeah, that's so far.
Okay.
For me,
Great. 3 cheers. Great. And obviously we always encourage people to get to know each other's abilities. It's absolutely fine on the table. You can't put attachments on table emails, but you can put links. And so sending out a link saying, hey, I just joined the table and here's my reel and I'm available for table reads, or hey, I'm a composer and I just composed this really cool little piece I thought I wanted to share with you. That's totally legit. And, you know, because the more we work with each other and share the gifts of our talents, the better. So, but good to see you, Akira, as always. So Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Actually, I think we are all caught up.
Well, also one person did mention how much they're enjoying my history of science fiction, and I am going to be doing considerably more of that in the immediate days to come. I've been making notes and doing all sorts of stuff, and it's just finding the bandwidth and the time to do it. But there's going to be a lot of fun ones coming up. So now it's Elaine. Wonderful Elaine. Go for it, Elaine.
Well, I'm going to be quick because we have to be at a meeting at 7:30.
Yes.
Around the corner.
With our creature maker.
With our creature maker.
One of our creature makers.
Yeah. Oh, we have creature makers. Yes.
Yeah, we do.
You know, trying to debate what ends up being more expensive.
Well, yes.
VFX or real creatures, but we prefer
suicide.
real creatures or
suicide. Yeah, but okay, go ahead,
no,
please.
I mean, nothing new. I'll let Mark handle the oddity of how we ended up going to Sicily.
Yes.
And just keeping busy right now, prepping for that trip and editing some of the really good footage we got a couple of Mondays ago from our excellent actors.
Well, yeah, Dave Edison was just incredible.
Well, no, he told us we were getting ourselves into trouble, and we did get ourselves into trouble nonetheless. But I was glad that he was there.
No, we had a great time.
And I mean, in terms of editing, but the actors, because I write subtextually, if you look at the page, you go, huh? But if you're a subtextual actor, you have a very, very good time, and it actually makes sense. So I guess that's it for me. Yeah.
Yay! 2 cheers. Excellent. So great. And we're also going to be going to London to meet with our development exec there, and maybe reach out to some of our friends in various networks and so forth.
Right.
You know, great. Okay. Did you want to head over to?
Well,
yeah,
you should.
Early.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll be heading over,
and I'll finish up here. So that's great. Terrific. So is there any?
Yeah, we have one more.
Okay, great.
Wait for Mark. It'll be a couple of minutes.
Okay, I'll wait for Mark. All right.
Jesus.
So that'll keep you tight. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Go for it.
So it's from Kevin Scott 76.
Great. Hi, Kevin.
He says NASA and SpaceX is planning a moon landing, a moon base, and a station around the moon.
Yes.
And he's trying to think of any sci-fi that had a station circling the moon.
Not that I can think of. There was, of course, in 2001, there was one that was halfway between the Earth and the moon, a space station. You know, there have been plans for decades to have a space station around orbiting the moon, but it's never been put into actual practice. And, you know, I believe in SpaceX's timetable, but boy, NASA, you know, their manned stuff has really gone south in so many ways, you know, and I just think that, you know, I won't believe any of that stuff, the moon stuff, until they actually do it. So we shall see what occurs. So now it's me, wonderful me. It's my turn. Yay! So it's good to see all of you, of course. And as I mentioned, for those who came late, this is the Blu-ray cover and the DVD cover of the first Space Command 2-hour episode, which features Don Baldwin Ramos prominently. And those are now available for pre-order at our Space Command website. And it's you know, it's going to be terrific. And we're going to have a red carpet premiere at the Chinese Theater in the next couple months. And that's going to be way fun. And we've been shooting, we've ramped up. So we've now shot 4 days and shot 24 pages, which is good. And we had one scene left in the framing story. This is our 5th and 6th hour of Space Command. And it's a story called Space Command Forgiveness, part of season 1. And so we have one scene left for the framing story that takes place 90 years later than the story that's the bulk of the piece. And it was going to be at an archaeological dig. And we were meeting with our team a few days ago, and they said, well, we could shoot on our green screen stage or shoot at Palmdale. And then Masi and Andrea said, well, we've just been hired to do a feature. And if you want to shoot there, that'd be fine because we'll already be there. And you could have ancient Greek ruins in the background of this archaeological dig. And it was Sicily. And because it only has one actress that we would have to fly there, and and Masi and Andrea can pretty much handle most of being the crew. We said sure, and so we're going to be flying to England and then to Sicily, and it's going to be really fun. And
which doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's an adventure.
It's an adventure. But also our costumer, Phoebe, who was also the body double for Mira Furlan in these scenes, is she was going to be in London anyway. So we don't have to pay to fly her to and from London. We just have to fly her to Sicily from London. And that's like the equivalent of a flight to San Francisco or something from here. So not a backbreaking expense by any means. So so things are going good. And we're meeting at the studio on Sunday to discuss putting the alien spaceship together. We've got all those sets ready, and we're gonna be rocking and rolling. And then the goal is to finish the entire first season of Space Command this year, and also shoot the pilots of the Showrunners Network. So we got a lot of ground to cover, but it's exciting. And the new book comes out next month, as I said, and as I said earlier, the BBC just named my episode of Deep Space Nine the greatest Star Trek episode ever, the most remarkable one. And so I'm going to be reaching out to the Star Trek showrunners to see if they want to have a conversation, and we shall see what we shall see. But so I'm going to email Doug Jones, who's in both Star Trek Discover and our show, and I'll also probably reach out to Jonathan Frakes as well, who I know. And I mean, I know a lot of I know a lot of that generation of Star Trek people, because I was working on Next Gen and DS9, and I was also on the lot when I story edited Friday the 13th, the series. That's just when Star Trek: The Next Generation was starting up. So we saw a lot of those guys on the lot. So very fun. So that's about it for now. So as Elaine said, we have to rush off to our next meeting with our creature maker, which is a really fun thing to be able to say. And and so we're here every Thursday. And and those who are new to the table, please reach out to David Bartlett, and he'll get you on the table email. And for our Mr. Sci-Fi fans, just spread the word. There's a lot of very cool stuff coming very, very, very soon, and you don't want to miss it. So that's it for now. Thanks, guys. So stay safe, stay well, and really glad to have you, Jalen, and you, Kayla, come tonight. And
welcome.
And great. And we'll talk very soon. Have a good week, guys. Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
And bye, guys. We'll see you next time.